permanent name. So, in order, in the premise of this whole discussion is around, you know, Agile was born out of technology, right? But you're starting to see this creep up more and more across the organization, not just software, but you might see it around you. And so, in order to get started, I want to talk a little bit about the history. And I think I touched a little bit on it yesterday with regard to the Agile Manifesto. But Agile was born in technology, and all these lightweight, iterative methods started to pop up, kind of, I think, in the early 90s, mid-90s. Unified Process, DSDM, XP or Extreme Programming, Scrum, I think those two came about around 95. And as I talked yesterday, the Agile Manifesto was born in 2001 out of Utah. The representatives from these methods got together in the mountains of Utah and kind of hashed it out and said, hey, we believe in a lot of the same things. And what was born from that was a set of values and principles, right? How many principles? 12? How many values? 4. Can anybody name one of the values?
Process.
What's that?
People in the process.
Individuals and interactions and processes and tools.
See, did you look that up? She's studying. I found myself going, I think that's right, sounds better, I'm not sure. So, as I was doing research around what other organizations are using Agile outside of technology, I came across a couple articles written by the same gentleman, Steve Denning. And this was out of Forbes. The first article was Scrum is a major management discovery, and then the second being the best kept management secret on the planet, Agile. He was doing a lot of research around solving some management problems around innovation, excellence, but he wrote this book, Radical Management. So he discovered Scrum while working on this book, and he was trying to solve, or at least discuss, how you combine rapid innovation with disciplined execution. And he kept hearing about Scrum from all these IT organizations, right? He kept saying, oh, we're doing this thing called Scrum, and he's curious. The reason this piqued his ears is that these organizations were reporting 200-400% productivity increases. That's huge, right? Just by implementing this lightweight framework. And so he started investigating around that. As he did, he also came across a lot of bad implementations which have some very poor results. And those results, I think they're reporting, according to this article, a 70% failure rate of poor implementations of Scrum. What does that mean, poor implementation of Scrum? They're not following the framework to a T, right? So in other words, they give this a cool term, Scrum Blood, right? We're going to do Scrum, but I don't like retrospectives every sprint. So we're going to do that every 3 sprints, or whatever, right? So that's Scrum, but we modified a very proven framework, okay? And with numbers like a 70% fail rate, why would you modify it? Whereas you have other organizations that are identifying 200 or 400% productivity increases. So he's kind of perplexed around that. I think we should be too, right? If you see these kind of numbers and say, why not us? Regardless of the part of the organization that you're in. I don't want to be one of these bad implementations with a very high failure. Or at least I hope that's what we're that's a really good idea. We haven't, not as a whole.
Can you repeat
The
the question?
The question was, is have we done as an organization a retrospective, how we're,
On our implementation. Are we at 400% or are we at 70% detriment? So I'm just wondering where we're at.
We do it on a monthly basis in the private homes. Is it monthly?
Quarterly?
Quarterly, sorry. We're doing it monthly, then we switched to quarterly in private homes. There it is.
But it's not truly the trending and productivity increase, it's more just
A retro.
retro. How are we doing, meeting the needs of the delivering results?
I was just wondering if the contractors we hired and came in to help us with like learning, come back and, do a strengths, weaknesses. Oh, you blew this one, circle with red. Okay, well, that's something.
informally with the specific teams, but it's a good idea that we do that organizationally.
Question.
So hitting that first article, yes.
Okay, back on your first slide, where you're talking about a bad implementation of Scrum. Isn't that kind of almost detrimental to the entire Agile process? I mean, we should not only be looking at the product we're producing and how we're producing it, but shouldn't we be retrospecting and using the whole Agile process to our process improvement? Instead of just saying we have a bad implementation of Scrum, we should say we have an evolving implementation of Scrum and occasionally look at it and go, okay, so what are the things that we can do to improve our own processes as well?
So Scrum is very, I wouldn't say very, it's got a structure to it.
Okay.
Right? You've got the specified ceremonies, you've got the specified roles. And what Denning is capturing in this statement and in the studies of 70% fail rate is where they've modified a proven framework of Scrum, right, which has a prescription, if you will. And so by eliminating some pieces of Scrum, you're not doing Scrum. You're saying you're doing Scrum, but you're doing something else. And Scrum doesn't define any process, right? And so Scrum doesn't say don't bring in things from other methods, because we should absolutely look at bringing in some processes that enable us as teams to perform better. Absolutely, don't ever give up on that, but don't mess up Scrum based on what it articulates. Does that make sense? So don't bastardize it.
Yeah, so don't not have a product owner, right? These are specified roles, and don't get rid of retrospectives, right? So have all these things in place, and then continuing to improve. If you have everything in place, we've got the framework, we've got all the roles,
Okay.
right? Does that make sense?
Right, I was interpreting bad implementation as you may have all the stuff in place, but you're doing it badly.
Right, and then, so what he's saying is, you have everything in place, and you keep improving on that. You bring in new processes, maybe there's training, you try different things, but you don't take out a product owner stays.
Okay,
Make sense?
right,
Okay.
and so I think that was just my confusion, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
So in the first article, best kept secret is Agile. What he was finding is that Agile achieved what was once thought possible: discipline, execution, and continuous innovation. And Agile's been proven by thousands of organizations across the world. So, but it's predominantly technology. So why not outside of software? So he keeps asking this question as he's doing his research. And as he looked through, kind of break down what Agile kind of prescribes, he broke it down to this: organize work into short cycles. We're familiar with that. If we're doing Scrum, we call them sprints. We might call them iterations. What might short work cycles do for a team of an agent? Yes, sir.
It improves estimates,
Helps improve it. Why would it improve estimates?
smaller scope.
Smaller scope, it's consistent, You get feedback, it's very focused, right? Versus 10 months is hard to focus right up front. I get real focused in the last 2 months of a 10-month project.
It allows for change. If you're doing a huge, long project, your requirements or your definitions on or what the client actually wanted may or may not have been defined and may change by the time you hit the end of a project.
Right.
So you're delivering an obsolete product.
So if you do 2-week sprints, you can focus in that 2 weeks. Let's talk about this other stuff way down the line, but I don't need it yet, right? The team reports to the client, not the manager. Why is that valuable? At the end of the day, it's about delivering a product, whatever it is, to a consumer of some sort, right? Be it internal or external. If you do work for someone else, more than likely,
I think you get more buy-in too.
you get
From the
buy-in.
team.
But the point here is that you're getting that feedback directly from the people requesting the work, right? So who better to report our progress to than the client themselves? What we did. I can show my manager, and they go, hey, that looks pretty cool. Awesome, you did exactly what you're asked to do. But they may or may not be able to provide that feedback on behalf of the customer, right? So it's getting that customer, delighting the customer throughout. The team estimates how much work the time will take. There's a novel concept. How many of you have been part of a project where you go, your manager or whomever brings to your project plan and says, all right guys, we got 3 months to deliver this. Where the heck did you come up with that estimate? Are you serious? What kind of army do you have? So the team understands what it takes to do the work. Hopefully, again, we talked about the collective intelligence. If I'm new to the team, I may not be able to provide a whole lot of context to the specific thing within our environment, but I certainly bring perspective from other environments, and I can add to that conversation. The team decides how much work they can do. It kind of goes hand in hand. So in other words, if we're doing a sprint, the team says, I can do these 5 things. I know you want this 6th thing in, but all we can manage is this 5 right now. We'll do our best to pull that in, but let's focus on these 5. Does it work like that on your teams? Hopefully. How many of you are asked by your product owner or someone else, awesome, you got these 5, but can we get these 2 others as well? I really, really want those.
Yeah, and you say, hey, so which 2 others are you going to pull up?
Awesome. Yeah, time is finite, right? So we can get done what we can get done within that time frame. It doesn't change. So if we're estimated we get these 5 in, probably not a good chance that we're going to get, if we're being honest about our estimates, very difficult to get those other 2 in unless something pops out, right? Teams decide how to do the work. We talked a little bit yesterday about how sometimes we are delivered the what and the how, right? But the team should be deciding how to do that work. Okay? The team measures its own performance. We'll talk about data later, but the team is measuring their own performance, fine-tuning through retrospectives, or if you're doing Kanban, you're doing Kaizen. Get some sort of look back to say, hey, let's do this a little bit differently, a little bit better. Let's improve. But you do that through measurements and data points to tell you which direction to turn. Work goals defined by each cycle start. What does that mean? Do we have goals before our sprints?
Acceptance criteria?
What's that?
The acceptance criteria?
That's been part of it, I think. It's maybe a target for each work item. But do we have an overarching goal for each sprint? Yeah, I think what we're getting at here is that instead of defining, here are the 20 things I want you to do, it's defining, I want you to tell me, as I'm the product owner, I want you to tell me which work contributes to this goal of we want to improve usability around this area of the organization of the system. Does that make sense? So that's a goal. So let's pay them the work that meets that goal, and then drive to that goal versus drive to the 20 items that may fit in.
That goal could be pretty vague, right? You say like, you want to improve X, but to get there, you've got to do this, that.
Yeah, I mean, it can be vague, but the more detailed it is, the better chance the team has to fulfill that goal, right? Just like a user story. If I give you a vague user story to do work, you're kind of throwing darts at it a little bit. You may get close, but it may not meet the needs. So if this is vague, if I can bring that funnel a little bit tighter and say, okay, team, let's fulfill this, and there may be 10 stories that fulfill that. But we may only be able to do 5 of them.
So if you have a goal that's to do something by the end of the year, do you have a deadline? Then do you still state that goal, or do you ignore that and just break it down to smaller pieces?
Sorry, I was gonna say, that could be your future vision, or whatever, your product vision. And then what Chris is talking about is, what's your 2-week goal? You know, and it could be, you have this big one, right, that is the higher level, and it is increase usability or something like that. But here it's making it, adding the 501 compliance or something. I'm making this stuff up because I hear stuff.
That's a real thing.
Right, but that might be your goal for that sprint, knowing that it's in line and rolling up into the ultimate vision of usability. That helps a little bit?
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, and maybe we can offline that a little bit, you know, do a little bit more like in an open space about the date-driven question. Because sometimes, how do you handle the date-driven that might be 2 sprints away and you find out about that? And, yeah.
That's a great conversation for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, write it down, don't lose sight of that.
Yep.
Because I think we're all challenged with that to some degree, right? But not relevant. Systematically remove impediments. What's that?
You only get 5, good deal.
Systematically remove impediments. So again, that's clearing the path for the team to make sure they have an environment that is as efficient as possible, right? So if things come up, doing our due diligence to clear that path each and every moment of the day, right? So that the team has a clear path to get to work. Conduct retrospective reviews in the spirit of continuous improvement, right? If we don't talk about it, we just keep marching down the same path, right? And if that path is bumpy, if that path is not really serving the team well, we're really doing ourselves a disservice. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like doing the same thing over and over again if I'm not getting the result that I like, right? So retrospective gives you an opportunity to fine tune that with the teammates and say, if we do this, I think we will improve this, whatever that might be. And we'll talk more specifically in the retrospective session later. Questions on the practices? Again, these are the practices that Steve Denning kind of boiled it down as he was doing his research.
How are those different from the usual stuff?
Well, so what Denning did is look at the manifesto, kind of took the values and principles and said, here's and how Scrum works or how Kanban works, and here are some of the practices versus principles, right? So it's kind of taking those. This is what teams do. This is how work is happening within a given team, regardless of whether it's Scrum, Kanban, etc. Okay, is that no? So let's ponder this. What about any of these practices that we just went over is specific to software development? And can you see this working in an accounting team or a law firm? Well, she's working.
What was that?
Mine.
What was
Well,
that?
not my marriage, but
question.
Yes, sir.
Thought about that. I'm thinking actual physical work, like building a bridge. How could you organize that into short cycles?
I don't know a whole lot about building a bridge, but
Pylon, that's week 2.
Okay, all right,
Pylon number 2, that's week 3.
okay,
Initial span, final construction, I don't know. I got a neighbor who uses it in furniture construction. He asked me to help just go through, but he has a shop that makes library furniture, and they use Agile to try to break the work down, whether it's hunting new bids or whether it's making that deliverable for that customer for that day.
So if you think about the short work cycle, for example, bridge building, furniture building, writing software, it provides the focus and it provides, you know, if I build a year and a half plan about what needs to get done, like building a bridge or whatever, it can be somewhat overwhelming, right? I need to have a big picture, there's no doubt, but I need to break that down into what are these short work cycles. And by doing so, providing that focus, it allows me to very quickly see how well I'm doing towards that year and a half that we have told the community we're going to be done with this bridge, right? Because after the first cycle, if I haven't done the pylons, or I'm thinking there's orange cones, but I know that's not what you mean. You know, if we're not on track with that, then all the other stuff behind it. And you know, I was a traditional project manager for years, and I remember one of the biggest frustrations that I would have, I'd go over and say, you know, you got a 3-month task here. How far, we're a month in, how far along are you? The answer 99% of the time is what?
75%.
33%. Right? 3 months. I'm a third of the way done. So you do the math, 33%. I go to second month, how far, they typically say, they might even embellish a little bit and go, I'm 70%, I'm ahead of schedule, dude. Right? And then it's that last month that's always so tough. I'm at 72, I'm at 75, that creeps, right? We've all seen that, but these short work cycles really exposes that very quickly. And this stuff happens. It happens in Agile, but we look at it a little bit differently. Because it's a shorter cycle, we have a better opportunity to make course corrections versus I'm on the 3rd month, 2nd week of that 3rd month, we're still at 80%. It looked like we were doing fine. Now I've got all kinds of damage control. This is probably going to take another month and a half. Yada yada. We've played that game, right? It's a fun game, isn't it? Okay. So what about these practices won't work in a business domain? You challenged with the bridge. I think it could work. I'm not sure they use those methods or not, but in my opinion, my humble opinion, I don't think there's anything there that would prevent us from building a bridge. Any other organizations or types of work that might not?
Something needs to be instituted, or I get through it quicker.
Yeah, what about the help desk type of thing, or like that, that's the same kind of thing, people, it's a, you know, whoever shows up, I have this problem now.
You know, I don't think necessarily Scrum would work beautifully in that event. The Kanban works great in those scenarios because it's constantly emerging. And we have to prioritize every time something comes up, right? We do that on a help desk, for example. You can't do your job, that goes straight to the top of the list. Absolutely goes to the top of the list. But if you've got a workaround, or this is a once a quarter event, and it's coming up, it's not yet at that point, there might be other items that are ahead of that. So I think that would work fine. So you've got that constant prioritization, you've got the short work cycles to focus on the one thing, get it done, move on, right? That's what these practices help us do. Does that help? Make sense?
After, could we employ it with our regulatory stuff, like all of the operating, all that? I know that
that?
Repeat his question.
I had asked if we knew if we employed an agile framework for our authority to operate and all of the regulatory stuff that we go through. It's kind of been on the schedule, but I don't know that we break it down like that.
Well,
Yeah, it's probably.
so let me ask you a question to you guys, if you're more familiar with it than I am. Would this work in that environment or not? Okay. Yeah, we often do it on Scrum teams as well.
I would think the drawback would be that you guys really would like to information from a bunch of people, or who we have other people. Yeah. And everybody needs to be the last day. So, with that.
There's one person.
There's hope. So I would think that would be a little hard to plan. I mean, we break it up evenly as they distribute it to each other. Yeah, but that part comes into it.
Yeah, and I think there are ways to address that. There are absolutely ways to address that. And it's not that agile methods or frameworks solve all of those. Those are different problems. They have nothing to do with whether I'm doing traditional project management versus agile. So I would argue, not very long, but I would argue that these methods would work in any scenario. And typically speaking, whether you've implemented Scrum or Kanban or any other method within a team out here, well, Agile's failing us, right? So naturally, as a coach, I always ask questions, well, what about it is failing us? You know, say things like, well, the team's not communicating well enough. That's not an Agile problem. In fact, Agile ought to foster better communication. So let's fix that issue before we go down that path. Let's talk about how do we foster better communication, or if it's we're getting stuff late, that's not an Agile problem. That's for a traditional method problem. We solve that before we go down that path. But we can talk. If you guys are interested, I'd love to talk through that. But I would, again, would argue that these would work in any scenario. It's just one is the knowledge. Two is the discipline to do so.
I think having a Scrum Master, if you were to spin up a Scrum team to do ATO, and you have a Scrum Master take care of those problems, those barriers like you do in software development. So people are not giving you what you need, well, that's the Scrum Master.
Yeah, there's an organization out in Boulder, Rally, it used to be, now it's part of Computer Associates CA. And I did my Scrum Master training there and got to witness some of the activities that they do. I mean, they're fully, I would say they're Scrum zealots, but they live and breathe Scrum, right? Or at least when I was there in 2008.
They still do.
And you know, you go to the accounting department, they're having the daily Scrum, right? And they're a software company ultimately, but they still have these back office functions within the organization, and they practice Scrum throughout the organization, every part of it. So, you know, I think it works. It's just a matter of having, like you said, somebody to help through that, help coach the team on how that interaction should occur, et cetera. So.
Do we have a question back here? I'm sorry. No? Okay.
I was, to your point and why it wouldn't work is one from the buyer. And you don't communicate to everybody, the role is, the process is, educate people. But then, in some respects, enterprise-wide, enterprise risk compliance, I think there is a certain culture and discipline that would not be change, especially from
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
One of my favorite spring. Organization, I have no idea
outside of IT, it's pretty much ready.
My experience as somebody outside of IT is that we weren't talking, we weren't trained on what was gonna happen, we didn't understand, it was an IT. It wasn't an organization,
Yeah.
or it was an NDS.
Yeah.
We
And we're
worked
starting,
across the board.
Aaron and I, over the last few months, have started to reach out to other parts of the organization. 2 weeks ago, we were out in Lincoln, operation folks who were at this camp in Lincoln. And so it started to slowly, and culture is a tough thing to shift, right? Process is easy. Teaching methods are easy. But changing culture, that, generally speaking, is one of the things that takes quite a while to shift. Part of it's mindset, which is why our focus is really around behaviors and mindset as it relates to Agile. But without the right mindset, that culture is nearly impossible to shift, right? So we handed out, thank you, Aaron, some worksheets for you. Once you look at the words provided on that sheet, there's two sides. There's the side that has on the right ABC, I think. So let's start on that side. And what will you say when your non-software friend asks you what concepts only apply to software? So take a look at that list. Maybe mark on the list which of those apply only to software. And what, after you're done with that, what are the top 2 or 3 important concepts to you? Give you a minute. Don't overthink it. What did you guys come up with? Any specific to software? Working software. Okay, that was a bit obvious. So congratulations. Yes, sir?
These really only seem to apply to people who make stuff and build stuff, right? So I guess if you're to take that a larger one, right? If you're not a person who makes stuff, you are a server in a restaurant, you are the person who takes out the garbage, you are the, you're the person who sells at GNC, none of those, right? So it's more than software, it's for people who build and make.
So are you saying that someone that takes out the trash can't innovate? Are you saying that someone that takes out the trash can't figure out a new process to do that more expediently?
I'm saying that most of these don't apply if what your job is not making or doing.
So what does it change the word on working software? So I see your point.
Right.
What would you change to make it agnostic of software? Process or service or product, right? So a working product or a working service, or even if you look at the Agile Manifesto, and it, again, born out of technology, there are things that are specific in the manifesto that are technology specific, like working software or comprehensive documentation. You change that value to a working product or value service or documentation, right? Very easily, if you challenge you guys to go through the 12 principles to look at, some of it is specific to the way it's written. Uses words like software or technology. But if you change those to be more agnostic, you still believe in those Agile principles. Does it make sense?
Everything on this, working software would work in a restaurant.
Yeah.
You've got to collaborate with your customer.
Yeah.
You want to eliminate waste, you want to be the most efficient way to do it, you need to work together.
Working
software to fit a restaurant as well, because you can talk about the software that's running the POS.
The COS, yeah.
So flip it over. And these are just terms that, some of them are terms from practices or actual methods or processes within Agile. Some of it comes from the manifesto. Maybe they're activities or goals. What Agile rules prevent you from using Agile activities and goals outside of software? What might happen if you break any of these rules? But daily stand-up that worked in a restaurant. Maybe you would. Right, so they calibrate, they talk about what they need to do through the day, what's important. They work in finance or accounting. Same type of thing, it's calibration, accountability, right? So you can walk through these and ask similar questions like that. How will that work? From their perspective, why not? Maybe you call this something different. What about your personal relationship? Call it check-in, because retrospective might be geeky, right? I do that. Just hide it. All right, you guys can keep that. So for me, guys, Agile is a way of being. It's a set of values and principles. It's a belief system. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, talked a little bit more now. And these practices